mantra, to nick a phrase from someone a lot more successful than I: growth always, in all ways. And that's the number one thing. Couldn't care about anything else right now. It's all about growth, whether that's financials, whether that's people, whether that's tech, whether that's everything. It's all about growth. Don't care about profitability. Personally, I couldn't care about profitability right now. I've never made a business decision on my back pocket or anything like that. It is about the growth of this business.
Welcome to another episode of Gary Goldsmith, Pints of View, here at the Cavendish pub in New Cavendish Street with my friend Roheel. Now, brother, I will give you a proper, magnificent introduction.
Thank you.
But first things first, Pints of View, drink. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. And I have done you a poem. Obviously. Now, people won't realise this, but it's Monday morning. Just turned 12. And this is the first time I have to get my mouth moving. So
be a good test.
Just bear with. You ready, James?
Always.
You know this is going to be shit, don't you?
I've got my suspicions.
Okay. In the world of staffing, he's a force to be reckoned. Roheel Ahmad's ambitions to be public, so beckoned. Aspiring entrepreneur with a vision so grand to build a listed business across every land. Co-founder of Forsyth Barnes with edge so competitive, their strategy sharp and tactics so perceptive. From cricket discipline to mogul in the making, Roheel's journey is a tale with no signs of forsaking. Award-winning and fast-growing in the global domain, Forsyth Barnes ascends under Roheel and Scotty's reign. With strong mind and will, he charts his own course. For his family's future, he sacrifices, of course. So here's to Roheel with dreams reaching high. May his star keep on rising in the recruitment's big sky.
I'll toast you to that.
Unbelievably well done.
That wasn't bad,
no
was
one
it?
was expecting it.
Nobody was expecting it.
I'm going to do double cheers.
Woo-hoo! Double cheers. Although when I did write to you, I spelt your name wrong.
All good.
But apart
You're
from
not
that,
the only one.
But apart from that, everything's gone well. Forsyth Barnes is a business that's actually changing the trend.
Yep.
And you're right at the Forsyth Barnes. You're right at the start of that whole sort of trend from agency to consultancy.
Yep.
Well on your way, looking at being a proper true tech business.
Yep.
With multiples to match.
Yep.
Smart move to happen. You're out in the public domain these days, promoting yourself and the business and all that's good about yourself for the right reasons. So there's so many things to talk about in terms of that journey. Your backstory.
Where do you want to start?
Becoming a boss. The early years as an entrepreneur, because fuck me, most people haven't got a fucking Scooby, have they?
I still say I'm in my early years.
Yeah, you still, all right, sweetheart. Making this decision to become serious and then, growing it from strength to strength to strength, working as a business partnership,
Yep.
The business philosophy and how that evolved, because it's always moving feast, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's never a straight road. What's next for the business? The fact that you're super competitive, and I don't think I've ever met anybody more competitive than you. And you'll tell me you have met people more competitive, because that's how competitive you are. Leadership styles between you and Scott. What keeps it fun? There's loads of things to talk about.
Yep.
We should probably start at the beginning. This is going to get massive traction, by the way. I mean, humongous traction, because people are really interested in what you guys are doing. Kind of under the radar, but not really.
We've kind of kept it that way. And look, to be honest, for the first God knows how many years, we were insular. We were just focusing on us. So we didn't really get out there. Even the IDLC events, like how many have I meant to have turned up to, haven't.
Cheers for
because
that.
it's not within that intention.
Yeah, and we budgeted and fed you, and you weren't there. There's a size. There's a reason why I'm this size. Tell us your backstory and how you came across recruitment.
So, got into sales when I was about 15. As soon as I got my national insurance number, I didn't even think I got the card through at the point. Started off there. I think I'd always had from a young age, because we had everything we needed, but we didn't have lots
as a family
at home. Yeah. Just so, as I was born, we lost everything financially. We just kept on to our family home. So as we were doing all of that and I was growing up, kind of that led to a lot of independence from a young age. Or recognizing that I needed to be.
Was that something that impacted upon your family at that moment to create that? Or
yes, but not in a way that I would have ever recognized. So I've spoken about it before. We used to have bailiffs knocking at the door when I was a kid. And so we were taught, when someone knock at your door, you quieten down, you turn the TV off, you peer outside the window. If you don't recognize, you don't open the door, you duck under the window.
Shut the fuck.
We didn't know why.
Shut the fuck. Serious?
Yeah. So we grew up till I was a teenager of always checking the window and not knowing why. We just thought it was what we didn't even think about it. Didn't even question it. It was just what you did. So at a young age, we were close to losing everything. Dad had houses across, and again, bearing in mind he's 14 when he moved to the UK, didn't speak a word, no education or anything like that. So it's all from Pakistan. So moved over in 65, 66 roughly. World Cup going on, he's completely oblivious to everything.
So the year I was born.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So grew up like that, and I cottoned on really early that if I wanted something, it was going to have to be pretty much independent, like in terms of not the necessities, but the, I don't know, PlayStations or whatever it might have been type thing.
Yeah.
Did that early, so I started working as soon as I could officially. I was always doing stuff before that at school and stuff.
Hi everyone, and a massive shout out to our main sponsor for season 4, the recruitment special of Pints of View. Now, Force 24 are exceptional. They do something that nobody else does, which is always pretty cool. If you're looking at sending out outbound email campaigns, multimedia messaging, including video and infographics, nobody else can do this. Everybody else sends out flat words. So your likes of Sourcewell and Elay can't do this. Force 24 do something special. Well, I use them, the RDLC uses them, and anybody who's taking their marketing really seriously will be using them. It's very clever. It's just a game changer. I like it. You should. So at 15, what were you selling?
I was in a kitchen call center for the chance to win a free, I think you get a free kitchen from it. But it was one of those, let a designer come into your house.
Like Kitchens Direct type
Space kitchens.
Space kitchens.
Yeah, one of the best educations I've ever had.
I bought the house off of Stephen Bowler, who owned Kitchens Direct.
Okay.
And I was told never to dredge my lake because he was an absolute wrong one. And apparently he died in a plane accident in South Africa, but he was laundering money for all sorts of people.
Yeah.
Said that out loud now, haven't I?
Space kitchens might have gone down the same sort of route.
But Space Kitchens, I'm guessing, is the same gig. It's a numbers game.
It was all automated dialer, and we're talking automated dialer back in 2002, 3-ish, whenever it was.
Wow.
So it was you weren't allowed to do more than a 3-hour shift unless you were one of the very few approved to do it. So you couldn't do a double shift for most people. And it was in the region of about 200, 250 calls back to back, boom. If you weren't told to fuck off, great call. That was the yardstick type thing. Right. If you got a lead through and then they successfully went and did a design, it was a $5 for you as pulling the lead, basically. Great education from a sales perspective and from a...
Scripted?
Yeah, highly scripted.
Did you ever play with the script?
At the time, yeah, but if you'd have got caught, you'd have got bollocked for it as well.
Okay. Right.
But I was only doing that job for 2-3 months before I got promoted. And I was only doing that for maybe about 4 months before I became the youngest ever manager there. So there was a thing, if I look back through my childhood, whether it was cricket captain or whatever, I always had a thing for early leadership pretty early on.
Yeah.
So yeah, came through there. Then uni and back to sales.
And what did you read at uni?
Law.
Where?
Kingston.
Okay, so a decent uni, a proper grown-up degree.
Yep.
Dumped it all.
Yep.
from an Asian family
Yep.
to get into sales.
Yep.
I can't imagine that went down well.
Didn't tell him.
What do they think you're doing?
It was
You had one of those Samsonite briefcases walking off the
No,
road
no,
with
no.
cheese pickle sandwich in it. And
it wasn't a discussion per se. So to avoid all of that, I never went to my own graduation. They never came to my graduation. To avoid the whole rigmarole of it, I just cracked on and just avoided, like, when they kind of remembered and recognized it later on, it was like, yeah, that happened ages ago. That's gone. And so the upset was a bit of a delayed upset, but it was upset because I'm now doing something anyway. So I'm on the pathway to something. So it was
so that's one of those, don't ask for permission.
spot on. Ask for forgiveness, not permission, spot on.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And how did you find recruitment? Because it's like an unkept secret. It's under a rock somewhere.
So my my impression of recruitment was very different from where I'm born. I was in Northampton, very agency, temp, or warehouse work and so on as well. And it'd be whatever it was an hour, and the agency would take a portion of your money and blah, blah, blah. So I thought it was all HGV driving and temp work and stuff like that. So when I came to London, didn't know about project management at the time, didn't know about senior exec stuff, didn't know about contracting. There was a whole world and so on and so forth as well. My first experience was pretty shit. I got sacked after 8 weeks.
I got sacked from my first job in recruitment.
Yeah. What was your reason?
I was a contract recruiter doing perm, and I got them to say yes, and once their ears were bleeding, they just capitulated, and then they spoke to their wives and said, "What on earth are you doing?" So I got an awful lot of dropouts. I mean, a ridiculous number of dropouts. Where on contract, nobody cared. Just happening.
So I basically, I think it was end of year thing that we were doing, and I didn't want to do the coke that was getting passed around by my boss and them.
No.
So about 2 days later, I was told, I went off sick.
I've got a cap for you.
What for? No coke? Yeah. That's just the topical.
Yeah.
2 days later, I was told I wasn't gelling well enough with the team. So they let me go on a sick day. But then I ended up in another business, and again, just opened my eyes. And so glad that happened, because their version of good performance was if you do double figures, 10K in a month, do what you want, golf course, blah, blah, blah. Never actually happened, but that was the dream that they sold. Whereas these guys, it was like 10Ks a month is a minimum expectation, blah, 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 that type of thing. So just opened my eyes to what a halfway decent performance is. I say halfway decent.
What was it that made you take that very first job in recruitment? Because there's lots of sales jobs. You know, the Evening Standard was riddled with sales jobs on a Thursday.
So it wasn't specific to recruitment. I did a Pareto law assessment thing, and there were numerous different businesses there, and I'd got through and I'd been selected.
You're the first person I've ever met who went through Pareto law who succeeded in a decent sales role.
Well, I was told by the others, like Informer interviewed me and said I'd be too difficult to manage, so they didn't give me a job. So it was the Connect group at the time, who ended up hiring me.
And why do you think that when did the penny drop that you realised, actually, I know how to make money, I can do this? Do you remember a moment in time where things went,
So when I went to the other company, I had some early success. I did my first 360 deal in my 4th week. It was all 360, right? I'd done my next one by about week 7. So actually, I was a little bit, and I was contract. So I was and these were new clients as well. So I was a little bit of, I don't get what all the fuss is about. Everyone's telling me this is really difficult, and fuck me, this is easy. But then I blanked for about 4 or 5 months on the trot. And I was doing stuff. I was booking interviews and the rest of it. But I was blanking. And the owner at the time went batshit mental at me, of like, how the fuck can anyone book about 15 interviews and not do a deal in a month? I think that was for about my November
I did 57 as my record.
With no deals?
Yeah. And
I've just said that, but
I know, yeah. So I was less than 2 interviews per deal on contract. And I think I had 10 and had a nervous breakdown. And then I just tried to see how many I could get. So I made it a game, and I got to 57, and then somebody offered one of my candidates. And after that moment, I decided I'd never do an interview again. And that's how, with the help of people like Ian Robbins, who came up with this whole concept of trial starts, I never did another interview in my life ever. I had plenty of practice. I'm not going to bother. Just sell trial starts and free working interviews.
So that would have filtered through to us, because obviously we were XS3 from the founders of my company that I worked for. So trial starts and everything had sort of filtered its way down to us.
Yeah, that would have come from me
Yeah.
and from Ian Robbins. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Dean did exactly the same thing, but it was so much easier to solve a
Yeah, it was.
problem rather than actually populate part of a process.
And that was it. It was a control bit that I was missing on my processes, and we kind of went through that. But actually for me, I think the penny dropped a lot earlier. Even forget my own deals, it was looking what others were doing. I looked at them and thought, they're not, look, with all due respect, they're more experienced, but they're not anything special. They haven't got a God-given right or ability that I don't have. So if I could see that they were making money on the commission scheme, so long as everything played out all
You're an
right.
all-rounder at cricket, aren't you?
Yeah.
You think you do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do
you
most things.
if you could bowl bat and still be the wiki and silly mid, right? You
very
can do it
much,
all. Yeah.
very much,
Okay. A one-man team.
Whether it turns out that good is something else, but yeah, in my head, very much. So.
Exactly that. Yeah.
But I just backed myself, and I thought that none of these guys had anything that I didn't have. They just had time and experience, and I would outwork them to catch that bit up.
Did you become a top biller?
Yes.
Had you learnt how to train and lead people?
Never.
Okay.
never had any formal training.
So you decided to start a company?
I mean, I'd managed and led people.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that, but no formal training to do so, just through experience.
How'd you meet Scott?
So he was my counterpart. We both did insurance market. He did perm. I did contract.
And what made the pair of you have that chat? Shall we? Go on then. You go first. I'm right behind you.
There were a couple of chats. We were very like-minded. We spent a lot of time together, could get on. Don't think we ever really had a bust-up or argument in the former years when we were kind of working together. Both competitive with each other, for each other. Both like-minded in ambition. Honestly, I'll call that God's grace that we were put together.
And how did the conversation go to start up?
Easy.
Was there a trigger? Was was something that triggered you, or?
So we'd kind of moved on. We were essentially running a business for two others. There were some frustrations there. It was, one had been through a journey before, so he didn't really have the go at it again. One just didn't have the go at it again at all, really, for where he was in life. And it was a lifestyle thing for them, which is fine for them. But we were like, we want to be up on the up here. And we weren't surrounded by like the ambition or anything like that. So we were effectively running the business for those two. I'd had a bust up in, I think I wanted to charge a client about a 50% contract margin. And one of the owners had said no.
Why?
And he said, because I'll get pissed off. So the max he would allow was 35. So with all due respect.
We used to do 100% margins back in the day.
So,
I mean,
this is the thing.
Because everyone gets like a round of applause.
He was a perm background. So it was, no, you can do 35, no more. Like, they're going to get pissed at 35. So if it's going to be a one-hit wonder and they're going to get pissed, I'd rather do it at 50 and make my cash out of it. And he said no, so I did it anyway. And then behind my back, he had, reduced it anyway.
So I used to write up contracts at 100%, but then at 6 months, I'd reduce it to 75%. So I'd build in pay rises to the candidate. So if they stayed there for 4 years, it'd get down to 35%. So when the client says, that's unfair and unreasonable, I said, well, based on cost of living and the fact I've already built in pay rises, I'm guaranteeing that person going to stay with you. You should be thanking me.
That's a very good. Yeah, see, didn't have that. So, and I was probably a bit too selfish. It was just maximise the margin as much as we could. Basically. So yeah, and then that was probably a catalyst for, this has fucked me off type thing. And then we've picked up the conversation again.
The thing is, because the pair of you are so successful, you've already got startup money, right?
Yeah,
You don't need a lot.
Scott was a lot better at saving his money than I was.
With perm, isn't it? They don't know what's around the corner.
A little
They can
bit
always
about that.
go blank.
I
They start from zero every month.
I was enjoying living in London single, and so I was tucking a bit away, but I wouldn't say a massive amount at the time.
No, you weren't. You did tuck nothing away.
Enough to start. Enough to start.
Oh, what did you start
We
with? Do you
started
remember?
About 8 or 10 each. Something.
Nothing.
Yeah, in the grand scheme, we went lean at the beginning. We had a cupboard. Our first office was a bloody cupboard.
No windows.
No.
Or did you have one coveted window?
No. What we did is we got a painting of the London skyline. I got black gaffer tape, put it down and across. And that was our window.
I bet you did as well.
Yeah, of course we did.
Have you got a picture
need
of
to
that?
look at. No, I haven't got
If you got a picture of that,
I might have something.
if
somewhere,
you've got
but
something,
yeah,
I'll share it with
that's-
James needs to put that into the podcast.
And even the colour of the bulb was a little bit different. So it wasn't bright white. It was to try and mimic sun. Just try and get something.
like a Lumi.
Yeah, but we couldn't afford that.
Oh, well, they were. I don't think they're invented.
It was just a coloured bulb.
They weren't invented then. And then take us through the milestones. So how long ago are we talking about here when you started?
2016.
Okay, let's go through the milestones to where we are today.
I don't know if we've had any.
Yeah, you have.
No, I
Okay, when was the first time that you had you hired your first back office people?
2016.
Sharp. When was the first time you got to 10 heads
2016.
in your first year?
Yeah. By the end of the first year, we're about thereabouts. Yeah.
Okay.
If not, very early 17.
Okay, what were your hiring triggers? Because I'm guessing you didn't have any.
Oh,
Not a fucking clue.
he will remember, but I wasn't that bothered about the details of stuff like that. It would have been, could we afford? To be fair, and again, this is the difference between him and I. And he'll run his life like this, and I don't. He has a spreadsheet for everything. So the thing that has always been consistent through the business, even to this day, and I put that security down to him, is he's always had a cash flow document. We always had a thing where it was the 6-month account. So we had to build 6 months of everything, salaries, rent, lights, everything, to be able to pay. And then we always had to keep that at a flush point, and then everything above that was growth. But we got that pretty quickly. And then we just kept hiring. Okay. And he keeps that updated religiously every week.
Okay, well, businesses don't fail; they run out of cash.
Yep.
So that's actually quite a smart move. For 6 months in hyper growth, that's.
But it's
that's
also never slowed us down.
braces and driving a tank on the M1. That's
Which is what
super
people
safe.
have said, but at the same time, that's never stopped us from growing. I can't think of a single time where we've sat there and said we can't hire, or we can't invest, or we can't grow because of that being at 6 months, because we've always had surplus.
And so 16, 4 years in, the wheels come off.
Yep.
It's we're hitting some very interesting times. We've just navigated Brexit. Then
Yep.
we got lockdown.
Yep.
You got IR35 issues, and you got the GDPR malarkey.
GDPR is brilliant for us. We won so much work off it.
Okay, I think people just got it wrong. I think it was an opportunity as well.
We had law firms coming to us for support because they were outsourcing so many of their people. We had law firms coming to us saying we need help with our own internal GDPR projects. So we were placing contractors after contractors on GDPR.
Big shout out to RDLC, although I'm a big part of it. The RDLC have, in their infinite wisdom, decided to sponsor yet another season, the recruitment special of Pints of View. You must have been living under a rock if you run a recruitment business and are not part of the RDLC. It is the game changer, and it is the best network for people who are aspirational in trying to achieve something very clever. A network, a community, hookups, meetups, the best deals on all of the tech that you actually need. We go kicking the tires so you don't need to. It gives you an opportunity to ratify your decisions, be part of something that's bigger than you, and there's no need to be lonely at the top of a business. Now you've got 300, we are Sparta, against the rest of the world. So it's us against everybody else. It kind of works that way. We've kept out all of the idiots from recruitment, apart from me, but they need me to make it work. Thank you, RDLC. Hopefully see you soon. For the people who don't know,
Yep.
tell me about Forsyth Barnes. What does the brand do in what markets?
So mid to senior exec, as well as technology and change projects. We operate in the e-tail world, which is more your online areas of retail across digital transformation, technological transformation, C-suite, sports and entertainment, of which, I don't know if you won't remember this, but the first time we ever met was you quizzed me about that and I gave you a couple of shitty responses. I was told afterwards of go easy. And fintech.
I can't remember that. Tell me about that.
We're doing a round table. It's the first RDLC event I'd been to, frustrated by the other. I had some frustrations around COVID. It was at the back end of COVID, I think. We were part of one of the other groups first, and it was just complaint after complaint, bitch after bitch around COVID related, the way the government was handling it and whatever. So I reached out to you to see what RDLC was like. We did a round table and had to introduce myself. You went, right, what'd you do? Is this what we do? Blah, 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 sports and entertainment. Sports, what's that? Like, usually played between two teams and usually a ball involved. And you just kind of looked at me, pausing, right, you fucking dick. And a couple came to me afterwards of like, look, mate, you don't know him yet. You've just started, like, go easy a little bit.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in there with a round of applause. I just love that.
It's harsh. It's I tell you, people generally come into those rooms when it's full of recruitment business leaders on the back foot, being super defensive. But you know, I was a sports agent for a while. I just didn't understand the gig, and now I help one brand who does exactly the same stuff in terms of like everyone back office in terms of sport. So it's all the talent behind the talent.
Yeah.
And that's everything from marketing to
commercial, technology, C-suite operations.
There's so many people in that world of sport, but you guys are absolutely crushing that world.
There are so many people.
I didn't understand it at the time.
Yeah,
I was thinking I just did not understand the layers and layers and layers and layers and layers.
There's so much.
And the money, because the on-pitch people are being paid such a fortune, except for like things like cricket and rugby and the other stuff. That it was kind of reflective because you were not going to pay someone 30 grand to be a physio when you're paying somebody on pitch 300 grand a week. It didn't.
But the commercial's huge, and that was a big ticket for us to get into it, like that commercial strand, because and again in the US it's just another level completely as well. So that was kind of we started off in the UK market, expanded out to the US. That's now gone east. I would say we're on the cusp of breaking into the Saudi football piece as well. We're not there yet, but we're still pushing our way in there as well.
How's that? Let's just go off on the tangent for 30 seconds. Why the fuck are we supporting the Saudis trying to use sport to clean their fucking money? And
I've got...
Okay, you can't say anything.
No, I can. Contradictory view to that on everything else.
Go on then.
Because, all right, so sports washing or whatever. Cool. Granted, we're here in the West and don't like a lot of the practices that are coming up. I would ask and argue, who are we as a Western democracy, I said democracy and thingy, to tell them how to run or govern their countries? Why is our way right and theirs wrong?
Okay, because some of their civil liberties and their thinking around the gay community, women and their education.
Yep.
The way they treat or enslave people. I think the definition of a civilization is how people treat people who do things bad against the mass popular.
But by what yardstick is what I would say. It's by the Western yardstick. So we're measuring it from a base point of here. By the very flip side, if you take the Eastern yardstick or whatever, they'd say something about the West as well.
I'm Batman. There is right and wrong.
There is. But are we so absolved of doing wrong in the West? When we go in and...
God, we're going to get Trump involved in this conversation.
No, not Trump, but we've flattened countries like Yemen and so on. Are we absolved of all of that as well?
Okay, now we'll get on to Gaza and Israel. Where are we going with this?
I
started it.
Yeah.
I started it. Right, this. La 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 la. Happy thoughts.
My point being, I'm not saying right or wrong in either way. I'm saying it's not as simple as black and white. There's a lot of grey and there's a lot of perspective on it as well. So why are we supporting? Look, from a sporting perspective, we can say they're doing wrong, blah, 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 but I promise our government will be supporting it because of the cash that's involved in the football and blah, 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 and behind the scenes, everything else.
Okay. I'm going to give it you because this is not one for this podcast.
I did say,
yeah, it's good.
Get Dean on.
I don't get Dean involved in this shit. Literally, vapors in the fucking skies, the trails. What would you say that your business philosophy is, and why it's been such? It's a brilliant success. Maybe it's worth starting with where you've reached today, where you are today, and what's got you to that point.
So where are we at today? We've got 3 offices globally, 2 in the UK, 1 in the US, all being well and with support from God. That will be about 5 offices over the next couple of years, 1 in the Middle East, another one in the US as well. Pushing 80 plus people as a business overall. Completely organic as well, never had any external funding. Mantra, to nick a phrase from someone a lot more successful than I, growth always, in all ways. And that's the number one thing. Couldn't care about anything else right now. It's all about growth, whether that's financials, whether that's people, whether that's tech, whether that's everything. It's all about growth. Don't care about profitability. Personally, I couldn't care about profitability right now. I've never made a business decision on my back pocket or anything like that. It is about the growth of this business.
Do you control what you take out of the business?
Yeah, so long as, to a point that making sure my bills are covered. That's it.
Because
I'm not tucking anything on.
Well, so I've sat on, it's over 150 boards now. And over the last couple of years, apart from this year,
Yep.
it's the first year that I didn't tell everyone to take a pay rise. Because I really like the fact that the senior execs are seeing something of a smidgen of a little bit more, because it makes them work harder for the next year. And it's not my money I'm spending, it's theirs.
Yep.
But I quite often say, like, Roheel, give yourself 20% increase. Because
That's never done it for me.
Does that not?
Even when I was a consultant. No. Even when I was a consultant, never done it for me. Did I know that the money would be there and that was a nice byproduct? Absolutely. I was much more bothered about wanting to be the best. I'll be honest, back then, being seen as the best, proving I was the best through my results. Recognition, progression, development. The money bit was more about freedom. If I needed to lend people money, I could do. If I wanted to buy something, not have to worry about it or think about it or budget, because I just couldn't be bothered. Like, my mindset isn't save first, it is make more money first.
What's the best thing about being a boss?
Living and dying by your own sword. Might completely fuck this up, don't know, but I can live with that.
Do you sleep well?
I don't sleep great anyway, so no. But
Do you if something comes to you in the middle of the night,
yep.
where do you note it down? What do you do with it?
It will be on my phone.
Notes.
Emails or notes, yeah.
Notion. What do you use?
No, I don't use Notion.
It gets on my pip.
Yeah, it's too much effort to keep it maintained still if it needs to be maintained.
Have you got an EA or a PA?
Yes.
And do they work on your stuff or your things to do list?
Yeah.
And do they help you say urgent important, urgent not important?
Yeah.
Prioritize that.
She's brilliant.
And say if something's been on that list for more than how long before, you either do something about it or it fucks off.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Okay. What's your timeline for managing you? Because my Emma, if something's on my stuff list, things to do for more than 2 weeks, she'll close me on it. So you're going to do something about this, or is it going to fuck off?
There's like a 2 to 4 week piece. If I haven't done it in the first 2 weeks, is it that important? And then she'll quite often remind on it. If I haven't done it after 4, then how am I really going to do it anyway? Like, if it's not been actioned at that point, it's yeah.
Yeah. So there's an intuitive way by which she manages you now.
Oh, I think I mentioned to you or Emma before, if I try to do my own diary, I'll fuck it up. And she'll invariably tell me off for it as well.
Yeah. So my Emma manages my diary. She manages my workflow. She manages who I talk to, and then she manages how long I'm allowed to talk to them for.
Sounds about right, mate.
But that's the 30 odd year relationship where she owns me. Emma is the boss of the RDLC in Gary's world. I'm just the pretty front end face. I'm the Debbie McGee of this relationship, and she makes the magic happen. She's 100% Paul Daniels.
Yeah, Mads has been with us for 3 years, through about 3.5. She's been phenomenal for someone young as well.
And how does she manage Scott? Because he sounds like his McSpreadsheet.
She's close. She'll work closer with me than Scott, but she does support him as well. She's not as involved with Scott in terms of in all things. Like, there's probably more organisational bits with Scott, whereas with me, she'll help me out on personal life and stuff as well, like getting shit together there.
So you are Gary, as Scott is Dean.
Closer to in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, God bless you. Bless you. Yes, I love the fact that you're trying to distance yourself from that analogy, but fuck you. Don't you fucking laugh. That's funny. How did you find the early years as an entrepreneur?
It just is what it is. Just work your ass off and just get it done. Like, honestly, I've never paid much thought to it in the sense of, you asked me about milestones. I don't think we've had enough yet. They're stepping stones. They're not fucking milestones yet. My thing for me is, if this business ceased to exist tomorrow, outside of the people who've worked with us and for us, who's going to remember FB in 12 months' time? And not enough. So I don't think we've had milestones yet. These are just small things along the way. When we went to a bigger office, when we went to US, yeah, that's great. But outside of FB, who in the US market is going to fucking know that we're in Manhattan? Not enough yet. So I don't class them as milestones. When we've done those significant bits...
You have to celebrate little wins, mate.
Which we do. And we probably don't do it well enough, because I think it was at the end of last year. So last year, tough for the industry, right?
So 23?
23.
Yeah. Dog shit.
Yeah, so we're about 43% up last year. Both Scott and I have sat there and
that's
said...
run rate and contract from 2022. We both know that.
No.
Of course it is.
No.
2022 was the best year that we've ever had in recruitment ever.
2022 was a record year for us, and yet we still both say we probably... I was listening to everyone in the RDLC, and I'm still sat there thinking, I don't think this is as great for us as all these guys are making out. Like, we've done better.
What was your net gaining and contract runners?
Can't remember.
Because that's what matters. Because that's what gave people who grew in 23 net gain growth, was contract runners from 2022. If you go from 0 to 10...
But I don't just look at what we've invoiced, I look at what we've written as well. It was a record year in fresh business written. Contract tempo, 23 was.
23?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
so,
I can give it, yeah.
23, again, record year for us.
We are so similar. It's like me having a row with my sister.
Who's a pretty?
She's 10 years older. You can have it.
So, yeah, we did that. Both of us have said, yeah, well done, mate. The well done, mate was a quick one. And then it was, but we think we fucked up. And that we think we've left 25% on the table somewhere.
But yeah,
so that's us.
So I think your business is incredibly agile. I think you make decisions on the fly better than most businesses that I know. And I always hear about it. It's always like third hand. And it's generally because you just won an award for something. I go, how the fuck did they do that? Because you don't wave flags. It's that you deliberately get your head just underneath the
little bit, yeah.
the
parapet.
The parapet. And then when you poke it up, it's generally to win an award and get down really quickly again and go at it.
Because that mindset of we haven't achieved anything yet, not significant enough.
I think you do yourself a disservice. Do you think you would have... Do you only hire rookies?
No.
Would you have not hired more high quality people if you'd made more noise about what it is that you guys stand for and what 100%. You're trying to achieve?
Yeah, 100%. It's a weakness of ours. Our self-promotion or marketing, I don't just mean of me or him, I mean of the business. We're not always the best at it.
What was it, 2022 that you pretty much won every award at the RDLC Awards? That was a strong year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was based on 21's numbers.
Yeah, record deals and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was absolutely a stonking year. 2022, I just assumed that run rate growth would go into 2022, and you went absolutely stone cold Steve Austin silent. And in 23, you've grown when nobody else did. What's 24 looking like?
Already we're up on 23, which is, I'm starting to hear murmurs again of confidence levels going back to 23 by some people, like to now.
The US is absolutely buzzing right now.
US, yeah. And again, for us as well, US is doing well. But for me, it's, are we doing enough to capitalize on what we've got? Can we be first movers in the areas that we're aiming to be first movers in? Because my absolute fucking fear is we've got these plans, we're putting them into place and making stuff happen on the tech stuff. Someone with greater focus or deeper pockets gets there before us. And that's my big fear right now.
I don't think it's deeper pockets. And I had the joy of speaking to some of your leadership team and just talking about rewarding them for taking on more responsibility, accountability, and what you're trying to achieve.
Yep.
I think you guys are going to smash it. Can we just lean into a little bit of the narrative about the fact that you guys aren't a recruitment company anymore? You guys are really
Shifting away.
Shifting or have shifted as to become a tech brand with tech solutions. You're a consultancy business now.
Yep.
And there's a lot of businesses who are going in that direction, but you guys made that decision a fucking long time ago.
Yep.
So you've got people, you own a bench. You've got tech people where you can make a big margin. And in the meantime, when they're off the tools generating revenue, they're building tech and product for you.
Yeah.
How much of that can we talk about?
We can
give it away.
Yeah, we can. Look, it's using AI in the tech space and the talent space. I want to shift this business away from.
Can I just say that you nearly did that? You nearly cuddled yourself.
Almost, and then open back up. I want us to be a tech business in the talent space as opposed to a talent business
in the tech space.
Yeah.
Now, how far? Well, when did you make that decision? How did you get to create the pinnacle or the moments of truth to get to that?
Yep.
And where on that journey are you?
So where on journey? I'd still say relatively early. There was a different tech play that we were going on before and started building out and even selling it pre-launch and so on as well. But there's something else which has come up which we think has got better scale. And I think the thing about us is we're not afraid to
share.
No, but we're not afraid to bear in mind we put time and money into the first piece.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to put a cancel on it and say, actually, if we think there's a better strategy and a better play here, it's not we have to see it through because we've started it or anything like that. So we're going down this route now of building the tech piece out, which no one else is doing at all. And I mean no one, not in the UK, not in the US. There is no one platform that does what we're putting together now. So incredibly excited about it as well. And it will take us into new areas of running a business which we've never experienced before as well.
So, and where does your bench reside? Is it global? Is it virtual? Is it?
Yeah.
So, and you can do, and it's all around one technology, one solution, one vibe, one nation under a roof. Can we insert that, please?
I think it was editing.
One nation under a group.
No.
Okay.
You just inserted it.
I just did. I was right. It was only me and you that got it. He's too young. So that's really sick. So that's happening. That's in place. So your recruitment consultants, for want of a better word, your sales team is selling both people and solutions at the same time?
Yeah, so we're doing people and solutions at the same time. That will shift to completely solutions. So where there's that element of contingent gets completely gone in its entirety, and we do nothing contingent as a business. And then the tech piece is the exciting piece.
Tell us about
I say that as if the rest isn't exciting, but yeah.
Well, you're right though, aren't you?
No, I don't mean to do a disservice.
Well, yeah, a little bit. we're following the margins here, right? This is a grown-up podcast. Everybody gets the gig. Is it a bum on a seat or a solution to an enterprise scale business? Which one do you really want?
Or is the way I like to think about it, the valuation I'd be able to offer my guys.
The words.
Not at
words.
all. Not at all.
Blah, 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 blah. If you're a recruiter for MEH already. Right, so sorry, I'm teasing. Leadership styles.
Yep.
How do you make sure you don't get this sort of mom and pop issue where they come to you for certain things because they know that's what button to press with you.
Yep.
And if they don't get it right, they go to Scott and press a different button because he responds to different things.
I still think we do get a bit of that, to be honest. And are you ever going to cut that out? I don't know if you will. So why not lean into it a little bit more?
So
go on.
So I just didn't like it because once we got to the scale you're at, it became a problem. And if you double it, it becomes twice the problem.
Yep.
So every decision had to be made at an exec board. So if anybody had anything they wanted to make a change on, the managers had opportunity at that point to bring that to the table at that point.
Yep.
And then everybody collectively made the decision on it, as opposed to people doing things super agile, but he said this, so I'm going to say yes, no, yes, no.
I get what you mean.
So we created this function that stops that, because otherwise we had the independent state of Dave, who was doing something totally random over in Austin, but everybody else was doing something over here because we controlled it.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I think one of the things we did back in 19, we better clearly defined our roles, because before that, we were doubling up on too much and having the same conversation with the same people too much and so on as well. Do I think you're ever going to fully eradicate it? No, because that's human nature, right? The analogy comes from mum and dad. So if that's what you're doing as a kid, you can be sure that's still going to happen when you're growing up and so on as well. I think there's times where we've lent into it and used it to an advantage. I think there's times where it's frustrated the fuck out of both of us. I think we've minimized it. I don't think you're ever going to fully eradicate it properly, not unless you're off one of the two of us, and neither of us have got plans to go anywhere. So a little nod.
Should be all right. So, I mean, Scott looks old for his age, but I definitely.
He's going to hate that. He listens. He's going to hate that.
But he needs to moisturise. But my Emma makes sure that doesn't happen with us. And it was just really important, because otherwise it was just wasted energy. And I did also like, there's a day where we make plans and decisions, because then everything became aligned. And it meant that we might have to change a reward scheme to reward the right behaviours, not just the right outcomes.
Which is exactly what so we, and you'll know this, we are still small enough that we do everything like that together. And so we've always had the thing of it's got to be unanimous between us both. Even though there's two, if one dissents from the other, we do not fucking do it. It doesn't matter how much I might want to do it. If he's categorical no, I've got to swallow that. And we've always lived by that, and it's always worked for us.
But Bill used to get his own way with Simon by saying, that's fine, I'm going to do it, but from all the business that comes from this decision, I get 80%, you get 20%. And Simon used to throw shit out the pram. It was very, 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 very funny. What keeps it fun for you guys?
I can't talk for him. For me, I think the experience.
No, speak for him. Do
you know what? He won't be that dissimilar. He would
love a spreadsheet about it. He will tell you, based on his Excel spreadsheet, what keeps it fun.
Yeah, there'll be that for him. Fair. I can't refer back to that. I would say the
love you, Scott, by the way.
experiences along the way. So with us being in sport, we're both massively into sports in general. Like, I don't have to play the sport to be interested in it. So I'm not personally into the NFL, but to be invited to the VIP section in Vegas at the NFL game, where you're coming out and you're in the end zone, and that's where the players are and everything as well. You're watching the game from there. Is something else. And the sensory overload that we've got, because you come out and it's all dark, so you're in there and it's all dark, and you come out of the wing club and the noise, the sound, the lights, everything just hits you all at once. And the way they've designed that with that intention as well, is something I'll never forget, and it's hairs on end type moment as well. Something I'll
Light,
never
sound,
forget.
camera, action. Are you
The
ready
whole
for the main
works. The
attraction?
whole
Light,
works.
sound, camera, action. Are you ready for the main attraction? Yeah, that would be absolute. That would float my boat massively.
It's that, and so the invites that we get via what we do through sports to CEO suites at games, whether that's football, basketball, golf, wherever it is, Formula One. That's pretty big for us. So when we're at those, it's a little bit of a Pinterest moment type thing as well.
Little tap in the arse.
Yep.
You're right. Yeah, I love that. And what's next to the business? What would you say would be? You keep saying that you haven't hit milestones, although I think you're being, for an 80-person business that's absolutely crushing it, winning awards for fun, happy, doing brilliantly. You're a dick for saying that you haven't achieved anything yet. But give us the milestone that you will go, that'd be all right.
I would say a milestone in
What's your EBITDA gonna be this year? What do you reckon?
don't care because we're chasing growth. Couldn't care less. And honestly, I don't. I personally, he will. I don't measure it because we're not in that phase right now. When we come to taking the business public, I'll care. Right now, I don't.
Okay, here we go. Now got it.
You asked me a milestone.
You want to go public.
Yes.
The last thing the world needs is another staffing business that's public.
Good thing it won't be just a staffing business.
But as a tech consultancy,
Yep.
there's a chance you could aim full listing. What are you aiming at? Okay. And what's your trigger for that?
We've got an EBIT on a multiple, which we've set out internally.
10.
Yeah. Good guess. We've set that out internally.
Not my first rodeo, mate.
Fair. But with the tech piece, I'm quietly confident we can 4 or 5x that.
No, that's ridiculously low.
Not the multiple itself, but the overall valuation.
Okay, right. Time frame?
We're on track for Jan 28.
Okay, should we write this down as a contract?
Absolutely, if you like.
Okay.
Because we measure it every board meeting. We do monthly board meetings now. So every first question, are we on track or not?
Who's that's on your board?
So me, Scott, our head of finance, who's ex-Man United, James.
Gigsy.
Yeah, I'll give it gigs there. Corinne, my NOTS MD, and we've just hired someone to lead New York as well, who will be joining as well.
Perfect. I love that. Do you always have a red chair at your boards?
We have had in the past. We haven't for a while now.
So you know what I mean by red chair?
Oh, I think we're external.
No.
Oh, go on.
So red chair. It's a theory and it's a process, and we did it quite a lot during XX, S3 and Computer Futures. So we had a red chair, and then somebody from the board, so one of the top billing guys or top managers, had to sit there and play the voice of reason of your customer, and what would you? And you had to do whatever you did, and you have to ask the customer what they thought at the end of everything. So we're going to change our comp plan. What do you think? Because I'm sure you're only going to be made money and paid money if you convince me to sign more deals to you. What's in that for me?
It's a good idea, actually.
And it's a really clever way of just making sure that the board is, cohesive, but actually always putting the customer first.
Makes sense.
Play the red chair.
It's a chair.
Yeah, it's a physical chair. Yeah, red chair in every board meeting, in every office. Just try that. How we doing, buddy?
52 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one other question.
Go for it.
And then we're going to play some games.
Go for it.
And I'm going to try and fuck you up. Because you're one of the most confident and capable and competitive people I've ever met. So I'm literally going to piss you up. Why are you so competitive? Well, where does that come from? I don't think you come from a massive family with loads of siblings. Didn't have to fight for your dinner.
Youngest of 3. But no, they looked after me really well.
But you're competitive, right?
Yeah,
It's a
to
little
a
bit
fault.
like me. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm angry with a small A every time I wake up.
Example, you play tennis. I've said, oh, we'll do a game of paddle. And in my head, it's like, fucking, I better put a training regime in because I'm not losing to you. And then I think, tennis, you play for a while. How long would it take me to get there? And the rest of it. And I
beat my tennis pro, and first time ever, and to reward myself, I spent $1,000 at Welbeck Tennis Centre and then bought new bats, 3 new bats. Can't hit fucking any of them.
Yeah. So
It's like, what am I on?
Oh, a good case in point. It was when the golf courses opened after lockdown. First time I'd ever been on a golf course. Scott had been taking lessons at the time. And we had a few things to go over. So he said, right, let's do it over a game of golf. I had genuinely gone on there expecting to beat him. I've never been on a golf course before. I'd been on a driving range probably about 10 years prior. And I'd gone in there thinking...
It's not as hard as you can hit the ball.
No, it wasn't that. It was... I was looking at him thinking, again, he hasn't got anything that I haven't got. The 2 hands and the rest of it. If he can do it, I can fucking do it. Yeah,
You could say that about Tyson Fury, mate.
You absolutely could do as well. Although I'd say he's probably closer to a God-given gift. But yeah, honestly, it's the way I look at most things. And it was just, yeah, he dicked me. Don't get me wrong. But and I was pissed as well.
Did you finish the round?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it was. It would have been something embarrassing.
Can I tell you a story about Russell Clements?
Yes, go on.
Do you know Russ?
I've never known him.
Okay, so Russ is the former CEO of S3.
Yep.
We were born in the same hospital 2 months apart. It's in Perivals, right opposite Ealing Golf Club. If you ever come down the A40, you see the Hoover building, right opposite Ealing Golf Club. The golf pro there is Ricky Wilson. He's been there, man and boy, played in the Walker Cup, which is like the amateur version of the Ryder Cup. And they've got one of the only 54 master greenkeepers on the planet.
What's that?
So these are the guys who look after the course and the fairways and the greens.
This is how much I know about golf.
So the greens are spectacular, and it's probably the hardest first 6 holes in golf ever to play there. So I'm there with Sunil, who ran Progressive, Russell, who was at the time the CEO of S3, me making 60% of S3 profits, drop, and Russell's shanked one, and it's gone off of the clubhouse over some people who are on the putting green. Put a ball down, we said, everyone gets some money off the first, and now he's put one through the putting surface and through the 18th fairway, and now comes the GM and said, you've got to be more careful, you're going to kill someone. And Russell's gone, do you think I meant that? Do you think I fucking meant that? And he basically threw his bag on the ground, threw his club, threw his glove, walked off and goes, that's the last time I play golf, and I'll tell you something, it's golf's loss. And walked off and never played ever again since.
I know his pain.
Right, now, I can throw a strop. I lost 4 games of golf on the trot once. So 4 games of tennis on the trot, and I didn't play tennis for 22 years. I can throw a strop, but nothing has ever been funnier or better than Russell giving up golf in front of me and Sunil. With someone saying, you got to be more careful, because he was trying to kill people. So I totally understand, but I can't believe that you actually managed to finish the game. I think you're more grown up than the other mates in my life.
Because in my head, it's I can pull this back.
Of course.
Honestly. The arrogance, yeah. We had a footy tournament on Friday at the Cobblers in Northampton.
At your age?
At my age.
You must have been in goal.
Yeah, I was. I should keep it.
Yeah.
And FB entered the team, and they had 2 ex-pros on their team. And until the whistle's gone, it was we're 3-0 down in the final, and it was how we're pulling this back, and I was fucking fuming afterwards as well. It's taken me the 45 to get home, see my kids to snap out of it.
I've the last time we played an S3 intercompany game of football, I was in goal and I was so off my tits. It was back in the dark days. I was in goal and it was rolling subs. I'm in goal going, ref, and they had to swap me out from goal. And it was like, you're in fucking goal, gal. What are you doing? So that was back in those. Should we go to a desert island? Is there anything I've not asked you yet?
It's your show.
We're going through. It's my show, yeah, right. So, the whole premise of being on desert island is you got one of something, but actually it doesn't really work. So we're just going to play. But we made the sound effects.
Stranded somewhere.
We made the sound effects, so we're going to live with it. All right. So, one wish.
That I'm a good enough parent to my kids.
Right. One prediction.
That we will go out and achieve and take this business public. I've got no doubt on that at all. That's not even an if. It's
Okay, you know when you were 3-0 down, when you were playing 5-side?
Yep.
Did you win?
No.
Did you think you were?
No. Doesn't mean that I was going to give up, but no.
Okay, aim for the stars, might touch the moon. If anybody is going to take their business public, it's going to be Logan. Right.
But in my head, see, there you go.
See,
Fucking seed it in there straight away. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll see about that. Not to say that you won't.
No, best moment you've had, and you can't say kids or fam.
What, in the business? There was a bit that really
Tell me a
stand
time
out.
that you've actually brought something back from when nobody thought you could, because your head was so highly strung. I will make this happen.
I look back at, and I say this with temper, from a business perspective, I think COVID was fucking brilliant for us.
You can say that.
Yeah. Well, I say that because of like how it impacted people personally. But I loved that COVID period. I honestly, because we were up against it, backs up against the wall. I was sick of people complaining. And
how many heads?
What, at the time?
Yeah.
We probably would have only had about 30, 35 or something like that. But I love that time because everyone's expecting nothing. So it's boom. How can we accelerate? I don't like the boom periods. I like the fucking bust periods.
Do you do 5 days in the office?
As quick as we could. We had our guys begging us to get back in.
Right.
So we were back. We had a place in One Poultry. You know, the clock that overlooks the Ned.
100% know it well.
We were the only one in that whole WeWork building that was in. Even cleaners weren't fucking in. The Tesco was open 1 hour a day. I was driving down
from Nottingham.
Milton Keynes. There was no trains, and it was only taking me like an hour because there's no fucking traffic.
Do you see? We'll Kill It put up signs to hire people to work in Milton Keynes and not travel and commute on the train station.
No.
And hired a £2.5 million biller.
No, didn't see that. That's how I don't pay much attention when I'm at the station, but no.
Look up, sweetheart.
Yeah.
One do-over.
We had a Leeds office. I had been the operative word. Didn't go well. We had to shut it down. Because we didn't, the person who we chose to lead it wasn't FB before, and we didn't do anywhere near a good a job of like incubating her and making her FB. And she was doing some funky shit.
Do you know how we integrated people at S3?
I did afterwards.
Oh,
yeah. I found out about it afterwards.
You get a home, you rent somewhere for 6 months, get them all to be there, come to the office, and when they're good enough.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
it was like
call me sweetheart.
10 days. Well, I found out about this afterwards. It was 10 days. Seen, if that, about a week, spent a bit of time in our Knots office. We set up leads. I was driving from London up every Wednesday, doing a full day there. Everything looked normal. I would leave and she'd rip everything down.
Nothing looks normal in Leeds. All the people that are homeless have got bits missing. Have you ever seen it? It's really bad.
We were city centre as well.
Yeah.
But she's pulling everything down off the walls when I'd leave. And say, like, to the 4 or 5 that we'd hired underneath it, like, ignore everything you just said. I don't fucking know. Until 2 would quit, and then it all came out. I had to let it go.
Yeah, that's bad. One guilty pleasure.
Oh, not a clue.
Destiny's
Sweet
Child.
Tooth? No.
It's like,
Sweet Tooth?
really?
Yeah, massive for it. Like,
Chocolate?
yeah. Couldn't care about sweets. If a pack's open, I'll demolish it.
Like,
If it's not open, it's a weird psychological thing. If I'm at home, cookies, not open, I won't. And I see it, I'll put it back. If it's open, you shouldn't have opened it, it's gone.
so it's their fault.
No.
That's the problem with having children.
Or just don't buy it.
Don't have one child when you can have 52. It's very Gary Glitter, isn't it? That was really bad. Don't leave that
I haven't
alone.
gone there.
Okay, right. One person you would love to meet or would have loved to have met.
I think it's a very obvious one of Ali, but more for the struggles that not just for the boxing and the charisma, the struggles that he went through, the persecution that he went through for religion, as well as colour and creed and everything as well as being into boxing, his boxing career as well.
You are so ugly. The sweat comes like up your face and off your back. If you had to eat one food stuff, God, that wine's really gassy. One food type for the rest of your life.
Outside of my mum's, probably Mexican.
No one said Mexican.
I'm a big,
You got fajitas written all over you. What was I thinking?
It's the go-to, quick, get it done, easy.
Can you cook it?
Yeah.
You can cook.
When I was a student, I was not going to be that typical student. That I learnt to cook at uni.
Of course you were. One mantra that you live by. You might have mentioned it earlier.
The growth one, but then the other one would be you do anything the way you do everything.
Now, you've, which I love that.
Hence the competitive thing and everything.
Yeah, of course. 100%. Yeah. If you can do it, if I'm going to clean the floors, I'm going to clean the floors. Nobody else will clean the floors.
Yeah.
Now, only because you told me I can't ask this question.
Oh, shit. Which one?
Can we go to a question when he's 18, please?
Rewind. You used to do that. Rewind. There you go.
Yeah.
You need to bring that.
Yeah, we are, yeah. The minute people start doing well again and they want to get a shout out, we will bring that back. It's Friday night.
Yep.
It's Saturday, Sunday. Right, so you're 18 years old.
Yep.
What are you doing on a Friday night when you're 18? And I know there are parts of your family who are not happy with the answer to this, but the chances are they just because I'm on TV and it's a sensation, they won't be listening. They should be fine.
So
Look, you think I literally?
no, I'm not thinking.
I can
It's just
smell
whether
bacon.
no, never.
I can.
Never like that.
I can.
It's not anything that I'm necessarily proud of. So uni time, I start to get quite bored with the degree. So I would start.
What law?
Yeah.
That must be really fascinating.
I wasn't even. No, actually, I quite like
would you
arguing.
start
No, I quite like the element of debating and arguing and
you
stuff
should
like
have
that.
been on the bus. Where are we going with
not
this?
that. I started to get bored, and so I'd started screwing around at night and sleeping in the day. And then I don't know how it turned into stupid road signs. So we ended up plotting across the country stupid road signs and place names on a Google map thing, and there's hundreds of them. Twats and whatever else. There's a place near us called
Dickey and Forest.
Yeah, Dickeridge Road and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one thing turned to another. I don't know how, but we started getting me and my best mate that I live with. We started getting requests to get them for people's birthdays. And so we would drive halfway up the country in the middle of the night. No one's going to care now. Halfway up the country in the middle of the night to get these requests for people's birthdays presents.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, maybe. But then that turned into some were old and you could yank them off, and some were well connected.
Yank them off. I've never been there.
Yeah. Some were well connected, and so we started investing money into tools and the little burners, what they're called. The DIY burners, like the Bunsen burner things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And different toolkits and everything. And I'm talking about hundreds.
Do you know, I just thought you were going to say I went to Regal's in Uxbridge. No,
I can. I spent 4 nights in Wolverhampton getting bellend for someone's birthday because it's outside someone's house as well, and you've got busy nights where people are still awake and stuff like that. And so there was 2 of us, and you had to one had to be a bit of a decoy and was pretending to be sick, and leaning over. The other one's patting on the back whilst he's slowly trying to burn the back of the sign to get the nuts and bolts off and stuff like that. And we literally went all across the country.
James, this is gold. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but literally, I think we owned him for life.
Until
you did time.
No, not for that. My mate's landlord found them all in her garage.
Your Mexican landlord?
No, my mate's landlord found them all in her garage.
I thought you were just tying up the circle.
No.
She made amazing fajitas.
I think she handed them into the council and stuff as well. So we had to get out of there pretty sharpish. It's like, where the fuck
Did you have to get out of sharpish? Did you have the sign for sharpish?
Yeah. It's stupid stuff like that. And I'm on about ladders on the side of buildings and everything. Just, again, stupidity of being bored and stuff like that.
That's the joy of being a child. And it's at 18, you could still get prosecuted and you wouldn't be a young offender. Yeah. You'd be you think of the things you would have learned in jail.
Good thing I didn't do law.
Proper bird. What advice, and it can't be, don't nick road signs, what advice might you give to the 18-year-old Roheel?
Work your fucking ass off. Because at that time, I was messing around. It was only when I got into rec where, when people found out the hours I was doing, they were like, who the fuck are you with? You're a completely different person. Because I was getting in, again, just as a comparison, I was getting in at 7:30 every morning. I was doing it also to a point of I couldn't afford travelling. So for the first few months, I had to skip the barrier. So I had to leave mine at 6 and leave past 10 to get past the barriers at Richmond. Because I had no cash. So it would be work your ass off and maybe don't put yourself in a position where you can't afford any travel.
Do you think we've got time to do a quick alphabet soup?
I think it's been quite nice as it is. 1:10 already, to be fair. Deep dive.
Okay, that's perfect. Can I say this has been absolutely joyful and brilliant and funny as fuck.
It's been a pleasure.
This is going to be brilliant. Should I just do a wrap up?
Yeah.
Mate, unbelievable. Pull your jumper down. It looks like you got boobs. Okay.
I have.
I've got moobs. You got boobs. This has been absolutely spectacular, by the way, and your level of sharing has been off the scale good. I'm absolutely joyed and privileged to have had you on today. So with all of these sessions that I do, especially the recruitment ones, and people I know very well, I love giving away the famous last words. So you can ask anything, do anything. We do 2 truths and a lie, or you can ask a question, or you can just say something that you want to share with people about life and something that means something to you. So the famous last words.
That'd be a question for you.
All sharp.
Question for you would be, if you could have it to do over again in a work perspective,
yeah,
what would you do differently that you think would have, from everything that you've achieved, would have gone to even a complete another level?
I would have taken it more seriously with the opportunity to have been the CEO of SRA.
Why didn't you at the time?
Didn't fancy it.
Because
I thought Russell was a better orator, and I'd have to have gone back to school a bit to learn more shit, as opposed to doing what I was really comfy with, which was making more money. So I was very happy doing that. And I was surrounded by an absolutely brilliant cast and crew. So I did that. And to be fair, I went off the rails when I lost mum and dad, and it just sent me sideways. and I wasn't fit for purpose at the time, and Russell was always going to be better than me at that. So,
in hindsight, if you don't mind me asking,
if Mum and Dad hadn't died,
no,
it would have been.
I wasn't going to ask that.
Okay.
If you had have gone for the CEO job and you had the responsibility of it, do you think you would have allowed yourself? I don't know the full story of when you say go off the rails. Do you think you'd have gone off the rails in the same way you did?
No, not even close.
Because of the responsibility.
Yeah, because I care about my fiduciary duty, my duty of care to people.
Yep.
That's what drives me. So,
Tom, you stopped being boring when I said that earlier.
No, I'll go fuck you. But it is a little bit. It's like I do care about peeps.
Yeah, okay.
And I think there's a reason why there's so many ex-S3ers out there who've got a soft spot for me. Going to bat for me when I get, as I generally do, get into a bother here or there, and people just say you don't fucking know him. And I think that's because I look after peeps. And you're not supposed to make me emotional, you fucking absolute dickhead, twat, bollock, fucking motherfucker. But
appreciate the show.
that's very cool. Sign off properly.
I would say, look,
You had fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a visual conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had a good time. It's been lovely to have you on the show.
Likewise.
Say something nice.
Absolutely amazing, and thank you for all the help that you've given as well. Genuinely.
Oh, okay. I had to force it out of him, but fuck me, it's like wringing a chicken's neck. So Jamesy, thank you very much. This is Pints of View signing off. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Round of applause for our guest, Roheel Ahmad from Forsyth Barnes. Come on!